Oh, welcome back to this random tech where I fix stuff. This is I'm gonna say early to mid 70s Sears solid state color TV. Um, I don't know anything about it, including how it turns on. See down there, it says pull on volume, so it's a slider volume control. But if you pull it, the knob just comes off, so not quite sure what's up with that. So I think the first thing that I'm going to do is pop the back off of this and just see if I'm going to get a look at the inside of this control and see what it's supposed to do, because if it's pull for volume, it's not, or pull for power, it's not pulling. And that's one of the reasons why I like having my table out of the middle of the room so that I can walk around to the back side without having to keep turning this thing around because it weighs like 60 pounds. So it does have a handle on it. I'm not entirely sure why, because I can't imagine many people are going to be wanting to lug around their 60-pound TV with them, but it does have one. So let's pop the back off of this and see what it looks like inside. And on the back here, you can see the handle here. So I'm not quite sure who's going to want to carry this around. It doesn't sit flat. It looks like this side is bent in a little bit, which is surprising given the weight of this thing. Took screws out here. Here was one in the middle, and there were two on the bottom on either side. Took those out. Looks like these knobs are going to have to pull off. That is vertical hold, contrast, and brightness. Interesting place for brightness. Usually that's on the front. And you can see down here it says made in Japan. There's the model number there. So with those off, see, I don't think there's anything else. See any other knobs that need to come off. See if we can loosen this up a little bit, maybe. Maybe not. Oh, there's another screw there in the middle. I missed hiding behind the handle. Get that out real quick here. I don't think this one and that one have to come out. Those look like they're in a different piece of the plastic. Pop that out, and now let's see. Oh, the top is loose at least. Top is definitely loose. It's coming. Wait, get this out of the way. And we can see a little piece of paper coming off there, the back of the COT socket. Well, we can see, you kind of see my volume control down in there. So what do we see? Well, we see a couple of socketed ICs, more than a couple actually. Interesting, they just used an 8-pin socket and then just plugged off the top 4 pins there. That one. It's kind of interesting. I see some discrete transistors down there on that board. This looks like a delta gun. That's interesting. Now, I'm not quite sure when all the manufacturers switched from delta gun to inline gun, but you can't really see it. Ooh, take a look at this one. You can see the delta gun convergence here. The 3 separate convergence numbers. If you look at the tube, you can actually kind of see it in there. See the one gun on top, and then the other 2 guns would be down on the side. Kind of thought this would have been inline gun. GE came out with the Portacolor inline gun in like 65 or 66, I think, and this is definitely much lighter than that. Given that it's got integrated circuits and everything, and it's all solid state. It's got the 75 ohm antenna input too, and the switch between 75 and 300. So these are definitely not usually found on 60s TVs. Not sure when they come out with these. I haven't seen a date of manufacture on this anywhere. So it's like a delay line there probably. So anyway, the issue at hand is the power switch. So I can get a good, no, my table's going to be in the way. Down, all the way down in there, it looks like you can kind of see it. It's probably that thing right there. So let me see if I can get a better look at that and see how it's supposed to work and whether it's just stuck or what the deal is there. So let me take a look at that. But anyway, that is the insides of the TV there. It's kind of interesting that they have a rather large high voltage cage. I'm not quite sure what they use for, I don't know if they use a double or a triple or what they use, but it's like a very large, like tube size TV high voltage cage. Probably that guy down there is the photon output transistor. I can see it behind this little card here. And there's quite a bit of dust down in there. Probably high voltage related stuff. So anyway, first issue is the power button. So I was able to get the power switch to come out. I just pushed it pretty hard from the backside, and you see it popped out here. There must just be some pretty dried grease or something on that, because you can even feel this is pretty stiff in certain areas. So I'm gonna have to get in there and see if I can clean that out. But anyway, in the meantime, let's see if we plug this in now that it's turned on, and just see what happens. So far, it seems like nothing. Getting any sound. Any sound at all. Well, that was unexciting. Power plug on the back is kind of loose. I don't know if that would be the issue or not. Still no sound whatsoever, so maybe we have a blown fuse or something. I'll have to get in this further. So it could also be that the power switch is just bad and not, making connection. So let me look into that, but so far nothing exciting. So after some investigation, I discovered that the circuit breaker was popped. So I've reset it. Let's just see if anything happens, or it just pops again. Still seems like nothing. So got no sound. Okay. So something is still open completely. Yeah, I did find a loose connection in the power supply. I seem to fix that. So now let's see what happens. Not sure if that's the only issue. Looks like not, because we still have nothing. Nope, still absolutely nothing. Okay, on to the next problem. I'll put it on the power switch a little bit more. And still nothing. Nope. Alright, so looking into this power supply here, get my meter into a visible position. See it there? Yes. Okay, so this, we're going on the bottom pin of the power connector, and that connects to right here, as you can see. And then this trace goes over to here, So continuity there. And I believe this is some kind of resistor. If you go to the other side, absolutely nothing. And this is a gray wire coming from this pin, from this power pin up to here. Now if we go to another gray wire, which is coming out right here, so from this side to there, you have continuity. But because this thing is open, nothing's getting through. So I'm gonna see if I have a replacement for this. I haven't figured out what exactly it is yet because it's in a kind of plastic tube. So I'll unsolder this, see what this is. I don't think it's a diode. Or that way doesn't make any difference. I don't think it's a diode. It's probably some kind of resistor. So let me see if I have a replacement for that. This is, from the time when people at least somewhat thought about serviceability. So this whole board is actually pretty easy to get out of the way. This has two little hooks here that hook into two little slots on this metal sheet, and then it basically just swings closed and latches in, and then there's screws that go into the frame just to hold it in place. So that's pretty easy to get out of the way. This was not too bad to get out of the way. Just some of these plastic clips here, and then I kind of fished it out. It was back behind this screen. This plate is what it sits against. So looking through this screen, you would be able to see like the components on that board from the side. So you can see what the clips stick out of this back plane here. So I fished that out to check that. So let me see if I can change that, and hopefully then we'll at least get something out of this thing. Alright, so I got that component out, and turns out it's not a resistor, it's actually a fuse. And as you can see, it's definitely blown. Now this is clearly not a case of like, oh, maybe the fuse just failed from fatigue. This thing definitely blew in some sort of short circuit incident. Why they have a fuse and a circuit breaker, I'm not entirely sure. Looks like they've got the circuit breaker on one side of the line. You can see this is that connector that goes to that board. The gray wire here, you see that the gray wire here goes to the bottom, and the white wire here goes to the circuit breaker, which goes to the top pin. So they've got a circuit breaker on one side of the AC line, and this fuse on the other side of the AC line. So I guess somebody was paranoid that day. Interestingly, the fuse did blow, so I don't know whether something's wrong with the circuit breaker, or I think this thing was tripped initially. Yeah, it's very strange why it would blow the fuse if it has a circuit breaker, why it would trip both. Anyway, so clearly something shorted. I'm doing some investigation trying to figure out what. As you can see, I unplugged the board and have it all the way out here so I can check it. I jumpered out the fuse there so I could do some resistance checks, and with that fuse jumpered out, across here we had like 8 ohms. Now that is definitely not correct. This should not be that low. Either polarity, by the way. Either way, it would still be too low even if it was like through the circuit. That's definitely too low. So I did some checking on this board, and right here looks like they've got a I haven't looked too close either. It's a bridge rectifier or a doubler, I'm not sure. I see a bunch of capacitors, so it might be some kind of doubler. I have to actually look at the look at how it's laid out and see which one it is. But either way, so you can see that we've got one diode from here to here, so current can flow this way but not that way. One diode from here to here, so current can flow this way but not that way. Then we got one from here to here, so current can flow this way but not that way, and one from here to here, so current can flow this way but not that way. So between here and here, pin 9, you can see what I'm doing here, pin 9 and pin 6, there should be no direct path of current that I can see, at least in this section, because you can see this side will let it flow this way, but then it's blocked by this diode, and this side will let it flow this way, but then it's blocked by this diode. So there shouldn't be anything between pin 9 and pin 6, unless there's something else going on over here that I haven't gotten into yet. But when I put my meter here, actually you can see that. Can you see that? Across pin 9 and pin 6, what I get is basically a dead short. So I'm starting to wonder if one of these diodes is bad. You can see they've been replaced before, as was the fuse, by the way. You can see all the flux there from the last person. Oops. So the flux from the last person, that's not from me. Somebody else fluxed it up. Same thing with these diodes. You can see that's been replaced, that's been replaced. Actually, that's a capacitor. Replace the capacitor, diode, and maybe that capacitor, or just touched up the solder joint. So looking at the top, they don't look exploded, but you can see how shiny the leads are on that one and that one. And see how dark the leads are on that one and that one. So I'm wondering if those two are shorted. Probably what I'll do is I'll pop them out and just do a diode check on that. And I'll also double check and make sure that, you know, there's not some mumbo jumbo going on over here that would cause these pin 9 and pin 6 to be connected. Because you see these go to here, and then this goes over to a resistor, a capacitor. So actually, yeah, there's nothing, unless these are like a 0 ohm resistor, nothing should be that low. And they're not. I see one's a 10K, and psych R810 is like a 47 or something. No, it's a 110K. That's an odd value. Can't tell whether they're purple or brown. Anyway, it doesn't really matter for now, because clearly those would not, unless they're shorted, they would not be causing this. So I'm going to unsolder those diodes and check them with the meter and see if they're shorted, and if they are, we'll replace those and see if our short goes away. So it turns out it was actually the two diodes that had been replaced that were bad. And see them there. I got my meter on diode check. Hopefully you can see that. And when we check them, you can see it's shorted. Well, I make good connection anyway. That one's shorted that way, and I think it just flipped over. So other way, same thing. And then this one, same thing, shorted and shorted. So both the replacement diodes are shorted. Both the original ones, at least I'm assuming the original because they don't look like they've been replaced, seem to be okay. So I replaced those two with two 1 in 4007s. And now if we go to resistance mode, see between pin 6 and pin 9 now, you have something like up in the megohms there. Probably just like a capacitor charging up or something. So definitely not worried about that being shorted anymore. Let's see, I'll plug this back in and with my jumper in place, see what my resistance is now between the two line core connections, see if anything else might be shorted. What I'm going to do first though is clean up these pins. You can see how dirty they are. These ones seem fine for some reason, and these ones are also dirty, so I'm just going to clean those up to make sure we're getting a good connection everywhere. Okay, so double checked with the board plugged back in, and now we're measuring about like 1.2K ohms, which could be just like the transformer windings or something. I don't actually know. I haven't actually figured out how the power supply on this completely works, but anyway, just for now, for testing purposes, I put a little real fine piece of wire in place with the fuse. Yes, I know this is not going to work the same as a fuse, but the set has a circuit breaker anyway, so you know if something does short, then I would expect the circuit breaker would blow and shouldn't get any serious side effects. Hopefully, I don't know why they have both a circuit breaker and a fuse, but at least for now, until I can get that fuse, I don't have that fuse to put in there. So let us continue testing and see what happens next. So I'll put this board back in and we'll give it another power up try and see what happens next. Okay, so now let's see what happens when we plug this in. It's going to work or blow up. Well, it's doing something. I hear high voltage. Don't hear any sound. Yeah, there's definitely high voltage. I can feel the static. So far, no image though. No sound either. Should we? Oh, there comes the sound. It's interesting. Okay, so we got sound. Still don't see any picture though. No, so there's absolutely no picture at all. I don't know what this does. Seems to do nothing. I'm not sure where these controls are set either. Okay, so we got no image whatsoever. We do have high voltage, I can feel it. Now, I'm not sure which one of these is the brightness control. There's something humming too. What exactly that is. Okay, so let me figure out. Oh, see that? Little tiny spot there? So it means that probably the vertical was running. Little tiny spot there. Wonder if the cathode connection to the CRT is bad or something. Because you can see the guns were warm, like they're producing a beam now. It's almost like there was no ground connection to the cathodes to produce any image when it was running. So I hope that makes sense. Because basically, usually the way that they control the video signal is by the cathode on the gun. So if the cathode doesn't have a path to ground, then no current is going to flow through the tube, and you're not going to get any image on the screen. You're not going to get any light on the screen. You need to have current flowing through the tube in order for it to produce a picture. And based on the fact that when I unplugged it, we just got that little dot in the middle. It looks to me like the tube is discharging very slowly because there's not an appropriate cathode connection to ground for the current to flow through. Hope that makes sense. So let me double check on that. See if I can figure out if there are any loose connections or anything. It could just be that the base of the tube is loose. Or it could be that there's an open in the tube, although if that was the case, I wouldn't expect all three guns to be affected. So let me look into that and see if I can figure anything out. Well, so I swung this board out, and because all this stuff it just swings out of the way, I thought I could leave it like that. But you notice that right here is a connector with a red, green, and blue wire that's not connected to anything. That goes right here, and I took it off so I could swing this board out of the way. So, what do you bet the chances are that these are the cathode connections for the three guns, and that's why we have no picture on the screen? So let me see if I can reattach this. But it just hooks in, kind of stiff because of all the wires attached to it. Just kind of hooks in there, and then swings shut like that. So let me see if I can reconnect this. This is keys, which only go in one way, like that. Now let's see if we get anything on the screen. Alright, so now with that reconnected there, let's plug this back in. So there's something humming, I'm not sure what that is. I'm not sure why it takes long for the volume to come to. Hey, what do you know? We got static. Well, on one channel anyway. So that's on UHF mode. Static on UHF mode. VHF looks kind of blank. But UHF mode got nice bright static. That sound too. Got audio static on VHF, just not much video static. Just the fine tuning, really can do anything. So, could be dirty connections. Oh, there's something there. I thought. Maybe not. Oh, there's some static. So yeah, probably just dirty connections in the VHF tuner. Because you can see like brief periods of static. There's some. Channel 2, channel 3, nothing. Yeah, this is some static flashing. Anyway, so this is the brightness control. Ooh, that's bright. Okay, cool. So, gotta clean the VHF tuner. Got to fix this power control, so you can actually pull it out without pulling the knob off. Other than that, this is a really weird UHF tuner too. I'm not sure if it's supposed to light up or not. Let me see if I can. So you can see there's a little window in there. It's better if I actually point the camera at it. With numbers 14 to what, 80? And then this just has like 1 to 8 on it, yeah. And then you notice as I turn this, the little pointer jumps back and forth in the window to about where on the UHF dial you want to be. So now we're on 1, so it's not on 14. I don't know, this thing doesn't seem to move it. So I don't know whether you're just supposed to guess. Really strange. It doesn't really matter, you know, obviously I'm not going to be using the UHF tuner anyway, I just thought it was kind of interesting. You know, so they go to like 8, and then if I go back to, the pointer's all the way over here, if I go back to 1, the pointer jumps all the way across. It's kind of interesting. Anyway, yeah, seems to be, because you got static on UHF. If I was to clean the VHF tuner and hook up a signal source, because you can see how that's much weaker than the UHF static. You almost had static for a minute there on channel 4. There you go, now you got static on channel 4. So yeah, VHF tuner needs some cleaning. Let's turn this off. Okay, so far so good. I'll have to order up that fuse and put that in properly before I'm finished with this, obviously. And assuming nothing else is wrong with it, should be a good TV. Just have to get a signal source in and see how it looks. The static look nice and white, so it doesn't seem to have like any, convergence or purity issues or anything. So that's good, because I really don't want to have to deal with setting that up. Because on these Delta guns, it's much more complex, and kind of interesting actually that this is a portable set, not just because of its weight, but also because of the fact that it has the Delta guns. So it's not going to go back on well. So when my understanding was that the reason why GE launched the portacolor with an inline tube, or I should say, why they chose the portacolor to launch their inline tube in, was because of the simplified convergence that doesn't get messed up by you moving the set around. Because like this thing has like, stupid meter. Ooh. You can see it has the 3 convergence adjustments there. The coils with the magnets in them. Now RCA, at least in the 60s anyway, when they made their Delta sets, Delta gun sets, they had the magnets you could just like grab and pull and move back and forth to set the convergence. And then something like that, if you put this thing in your car and drive 50 miles over a bumpy road, it's probably going to mess it all up. This thing though has these little thumb wheels, and I'm not sure if you can see, but it looks like there's a spring in there too. So I guess that was their attempt to actually, if you can see it on this one on the side, you can see there's a spring in there under the thumb wheel. So I'm guessing that was Sears' attempt to, oh shut up, stupid meter. Guessing that was Sears' attempt to make something that would not, get all whacked out when you're moving the portable set. I'm honestly not sure why they didn't go with an inline gun on this. This is definitely, way after GE launched the portacolor, so definitely inline gun CRTs would have been available. I can't imagine this being, anything earlier than like 73 probably, just a guess, but I don't know. I have no idea. I just think it's kind of interesting that that's what they went with. So yeah, in addition to setting those up, you also have all of these adjustments up here for fine-tuning the convergence on the Delta guns. And I'm not actually sure what the process of doing these are. I actually don't even know what all these controls are for. So that one says top and bottom, but top what and bottom what, I don't know. So hopefully won't have to mess with these, because probably going to end up worse than it already is if I do. So I have no idea what I'm doing. So anyway, I think the next step is to get a signal into this thing and see how it does. Alright, so I got my signal source hooked up. Let's plug this back in. Your audio. Channel. It's like audio might be cutting out. Oh, there you go. No video though. Channel 2. I almost had to go for a minute. I'll turn that down before I get a copyright strike. Okay, so if I wiggle the tuner, I can get a picture, so definitely. 2, channel 3, should be on channel 3. It wants to kind of if I wiggle it. Definitely the tuner is messed up. Yeah. Thought I would be able to get something though. If I hold it that way, sometimes it comes in. Oh, it's way out there. Adjusting fine tuning here. Like you might have to push to adjust fine tuning. Is it on channel 4? I thought I was at the channel 3. Yeah, it's at the channel. Comes in on channel 4 though. Sometimes. Probably just the whacked out tuner. Alright. Let's look at having no choice now but to clean the tuner before going any further. I was hoping to hold off on that. Because to get to that I have to dig all the way into the front, and while I'm doing that I'll probably work on the power switch too, so hoping to be able to get a good picture before tearing into it that far. This vertical is, I think that's one of these controls here. Does something. Is it this one? Oh, there it is. There's one thing is vertical linearity, maybe. Not sure why it's adjusting the brightness, but so I don't have any color. Could also be a tuner issue too. This is the color adjustment. That doesn't seem to do anything. What does this do? There's nothing either. Okay, so looks like we have no color. Sure, there's like a color adjustment or something on this. Oh, we got green. Oh, we got some color, looks like. I wonder if this color pot is dirty. Yeah. I think these sliding pots usually a bit of an issue. Let me see if I can sort that one real quick. How far cleaner go? I wonder if I can just put it into the front here. I'm not sure if that'll work or not. Some color. Tint looks dirty too. So tint seems to have no effect. Looks like it's getting stuck now. It's interesting. Alright, so I'm gonna have to dig into, almost, getting a little bit better. You can see the tint changing now. Flashing from green to red. Almost. Okay, so, yeah, it shows up pretty well. And probably volume's gonna have the same issue.
I understand all the animals and all the animals.
Okay, so yeah, I'm pretty satisfied with that. Gotta clean the tuner. There's a little bit of noise in the picture yet, but you know that could be the dirty tuner. I might not have the fine tuning adjusted either. I'm gonna have to play around with that. Definitely gotta clean these controls. Definitely gotta fix the power switch. Definitely gotta get the right fuse put in there. Not gonna run this for too long without that fuse in there. You know, just in case something does happen. But even so, that circuit breaker should take care of it. But still. Anyway, yeah, seems to be working. It almost looks like it's jumping a little bit though. I don't know if my vertical adjustment is. Of course, maybe those parts are dirty too. Those parts are facing upwards, although they look like they're pretty well sealed, but so I think dirt might have gotten in those. So maybe I'll clean those too. The brightness, hey, this vertical linearity and vertical hold or something. Might be contrast. I wonder if this one's contrast. That one definitely seems dirty. Where's my color went away again? Maybe that one. Not sure. Or just my tuning went out too. You have to be tuned like right on it to get the color. So anyway, I'm gonna play around with that for a while. I get my color back. Yeah, I think that one's contrast. And this one on the end is brightness. So yeah, I'm gonna have to play with that, see if I can get those controls cleaned up and make it, you know, nice and stable. This tuner keeps adjusting itself too. Where my color went? Well, anyway, needs some cleaning. So, I take back what I said about this set being easy to service. These tuners are not at all easy to service. To get to them, you have to take them out, and to take them out, you have to move like the whole chassis back. So I unplug a bunch of stuff and unscrew a bunch of stuff to be able to disconnect the chassis from the front plastic piece to slide it back, to be able to get to the tuner. And then even when you get it out, you still have limited access because, like I took it off the front here, but this shield doesn't come off. They must have soldered it to the main tuner body, like up behind this plate, because like this side came off and like slid down, but I cannot get this side to move at all. So they must have soldered it to the tuner body up behind this plate somehow. And the only way to get to it is to take all of the wires off the top of the tuner so that it'll drop out from this metal frame. So I did the best that I could spraying the contact cleaner in the little hole here and working it back and forth. So hopefully that'll clean it up. But I don't understand why they made this tuner so difficult to get at and so difficult to get inside. So it seems kind of annoying. I don't see the reason for making it that difficult. Alright, so I got everything all back together now. Clean the tuner, just spray some contact cleaner in and turn it around, so hopefully that cleaned that up. Clean up these controls. Clean up the power control. There was just some dried grease. You can see now it pulls in and out just fine. I probably should have shown it, but the way that they have this is the little nub that sticks out is attached to a plastic piece that then slides over top of the nub on the actual control slider. So that's what slides. So it slides back and forth on that nub when you pull it in and out. And that's where the grease was dried up, so it wouldn't slide off of the actual control nub. And also that positive piece is connected to a little lever that pulls the power switch. So clean up that grease, put some fresh oil on it, so hopefully it should be good. Let's plug this in now and see what we get. Yeah, nothing because my cheater cord isn't plugged in. So plug in back the TV. No. No, I don't hear that humming sound either. I don't know if it's related or not, but before I didn't have the degassing coil plugged in, so maybe that could be that humming that we heard before. I'm not entirely sure. Either way, so we got volume now. Let's see. Connected here. Tuner is still dirty. Anything at all, actually. Alright, so I know why. Duh. I disconnected the tuner board up here with the antennas on it to take it out. Forgot to plug it back in. So let me plug that back in and then see if we get anything. Well, actually the wire I had unplugged was the UHF tuner, so I don't know that that would make any difference. Let's just try this again. It's not really getting anything. So definitely the tuner is working and connected. Just somehow my antenna signal isn't getting the actual tuner. That's the 75 ohm tuner, so it doesn't have any effect. So let me figure out how to scoot up with this antenna connection now. Alright, let's try that again. So I thought I'd fixed it. There we go. It's just my crappy Hey, there we go. That I guess gives us the best color. Turn that down a little bit. So we have color, we have sound. Tint doesn't look too bad. Can adjust that now. Actually, I don't know, there maybe. Brightness. This one brightness? What's brightness? I'd say that's not too bad. Actually, see, it's not, the camera's not blinking this time by some miracle. So yeah.
Who threw that bomb? Oh, Napoleon, you're a mess, ain't you, boy? Oh, get you. Make you look nice, Chris.
I forgot a copyright strike, but anyway. Yeah, so the issue was my crappy RF coax cable going in. the connection into the screw channel has been loose for a while, and it looks like one of the strands of the shielding part of the cable fell down inside the connector and shorted out the central signal wire to the outside shielding, so that was why we weren't getting any signal. Vertical linearity looks a bit off. Let me see if I can find a control for that. See a little bit of an egghead there. I think there is one. I'll just see if I can find that. But anyway, other than that, it does seem to be working. Oh, so I played around with the height and the vertical linearity a little bit. I think it's better. It may not be 100% perfect yet, it might need some more tweaking, but before you kind of see almost kind of like there was some separation between the scan lines at the top. It looked kind of weird, and I don't see that anymore. So hopefully it should be better. See, we can adjust color level. There are lots and lots of color. This content isn't the most colorful content, so it's probably not the best to be testing color TVs out with. Like that right there is about, the color level of this content, so it's not, quite the best. A little less red there, maybe. It's too red.
You're wondering how to get along with these guys. It's a good thing I know all about that.
Volume seems nice now, no longer scratchy. So yeah, I think this is going to be considered a success. She'll have to get that fuse in there, and I'm going to take this outside and blow a bunch of the dust out of it, just because there's so much dust in it. Other than that, I think we should be pretty much good. So, also I wanted to mention, I'm not sure I mentioned this before, but this definitely looks like a Toshiba build. You can see a bunch of the components in the back of the set are labeled Toshiba. So this is definitely built by Toshiba for Sears. Still not sure the year. I think like early 70s probably my best guess, but anyway, hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching.